This is The Big Breakdown, a long look back at some of the biggest stories we're covering for you at the Hidden Killers podcast and True Crime Today. This is Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski. Here now, Tony Brueski.
Join me as we go on a journey into the mind of Donna Adelson. And in the comment section on YouTube, please let me know your thoughts and hit subscribe while you're there. We're going to dive into this and try to understand things from the perspective of Donna Adelson. This is an opinion piece. This is my opinion. Obviously, it is what it is. But let's try and dive in here. Let's try and figure out how A plus B equals C in her mind. And in the comments, like I said, let me know your thoughts on YouTube. Search Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski if you're not already there. And yes, that subscribe button, we're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're a bit over 80. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. I don't know. Only you can help that. So please do hit subscribe if you've not already done so. Please, please, please. Okay. There's a particular danger in assuming evil announces itself. That it shows up with flashing lights, or obvious malice, or some distinct cinematic quality that signals its arrival. The truth is far quieter, far more subtle, and far more unsettling. Sometimes evil doesn't arrive as rage or brutality. Sometimes it arrives wrapped in good intentions, folded inside a parent's protective instinct, tucked behind a smile that has spent decades convincing people that she is the one who holds the family together. And that's the thing about Donna Adelson. The surface-level version of her story is way too simple. Vindictive mother-in-law conspires to kill her son-in-law. Sure, it's true, but it does not capture the psychological architecture that made it all possible. It doesn't explain how a woman who saw herself as the loving matriarch could justify something so extreme, so calculated, and so cold-blooded. Because Donna didn't wake up one morning and decide to become a villain. People like her almost never see themselves that way. Instead, they build a narrative. Slow, deliberate, self-protective, that transforms their darkest impulses into heroic acts. They create a story where they weren't eliminating a human being. They were restoring order, protecting their children, stabilizing a world they believed was under threat. The most unsettling part of all of this isn't what she did. It's the fact that inside her own mind, it actually made sense. How? Well, stick around, because that's what we're going to walk through. Do a little mental gymnastics here. You ready? You stretched? Okay. I know this is not, I don't know. I don't stretch. I don't work out much. So you guys, I'm not going to stretch. Anyway. This is about how the narcissistic psychology was at work. It's not about cruelty for cruelty's sake. It's about power, fear, identity, and a desperate need to preserve the illusion that she, and only she, understood what needed to be done. Let's start long before the murder plot, long before the whispered conversations and suggestive comments and coded language that would later expose everything. Let's start with who she believed herself to be in her own mental universe. Donna saw herself as the architect of her family's success, the steady hand behind the curtain, the one who shaped her children's futures, who provided guidance, who held high expectations, and who genuinely believed that without her influence, everything would collapse. That kind of psychological posture isn't built overnight. It's crafted through years of reinforcement, years of molding the family dynamic around herself. From the outside, it probably looked like involvement, care, motherly devotion, but inside that psychological structure, involvement wasn't about nurturing, it was about control. And the line between the two is often invisible until someone actually threatens it. Enter Dan Markel. To most people, he was a law professor, a father, a man going through a painful divorce. But through Donna's lens, he became something else entirely. The man who disrupted the carefully curated family system she presided over. The man who refused to abide by her rules. The man who challenged her authority in ways she could neither tolerate nor forget. The man who introduced chaos into a system she believed must be controlled at all times. At all costs, of course. Here's the psychological truth. Narcissists don't respond to conflict the way healthy people do. That's what makes them narcissists. Healthy people adapt. Narcissists defend. They rewrite. They retaliate. They recast the person causing the conflict as the villain in their story, because if they don't, they'd have to face the uncomfortable possibility that they aren't always right. And narcissists are constitutionally incapable of being wrong. Incapable of being wrong. Remember that. I don't understand that way of thinking. Understand the incapabilities of these people, and you'll understand them a lot better. So when the divorce happened, Donna didn't see that as two adults, separating. She saw it as an attack on the family she believed she alone held together. She saw it as betrayal, not just of her daughter, but of her. Because narcissists conflate their children's lives with their own identity. They're one and the same, even when they're adults. The divorce wasn't Wendy's pain, it was Donna's humiliation. The custody dispute wasn't about the kids, it was about her losing influence. And her embarrassment. Because why on earth would Wendy be getting divorced from a decent, wonderful human being who cared about his kids? You got to paint that picture as he's something else. Something that she's escaping from. Because it couldn't just be that two adults amicably realize they're not right for each other. The narrative in the narcissist mind, it's got to be big, it's got to be bad. And bad ain't Wendy or her. Every argument, every court filing, every disagreement became another indictment in the narrative she had started to build. Dan was ruining the family and she was helpless to stop it. Helpless is a very dangerous emotional state for someone like Donna, because helplessness shatters the illusion. And once that illusion breaks, the narcissistic mind has to rebuild it fast. That's where distortions come in. She begins to reinterpret every action Dan takes as intentional harm, not just a disagreement, harm. Not just stubbornness, maliciousness. Not just legal boundaries, personal attacks. And this is where her mental story shifts from resentment into moral justification. If Dan is hurting Wendy, then Donna is protecting her. If Dan is destabilizing the grandchildren's lives, then Donna is trying to save them. If Dan is preventing the family from moving forward, then Donna is the only one brave enough to confront that threat. You begin to see how the pieces fall into place. A normal person sees conflict, a narcissist sees danger. A normal person accepts boundaries, a narcissist sees oppression. A normal person adapts, a narcissist takes action, righteous, self-anointed, morally justified action in their mind. Because the narcissist always believes the universe appointed them guardian of what is right. And here's the real chilling part. Once that narrative takes root, The moral horizon shifts. Actions that would have once felt unthinkable now feel necessary. Violence becomes a means of restoring order. Conspiracy becomes a form of protection. Even murder becomes something that can be rationalized inside a worldview where the narcissist's needs are the moral foundation on which everything else rests. Donna didn't see herself as plotting the destruction of a human being. She saw herself as removing the obstacle blocking her family's happiness. Notice the language there. Obstacle. That's how narcissists reduce people who don't fit into their idealized world. They don't see a person with a history, a family, a future. They see a blockade. Something in the way. Something that must be cleared for the greater good, a greater good defined entirely by their preferences. This is the part most people miss. Narcissists don't operate on empathy, they operate on threat detection. And once someone becomes a perceived threat to the narcissist's control narrative, that person stops being human in their eyes. That's how moral gymnastics work. You can't commit an atrocity against someone you see as fully human. But you can eliminate a problem. You can neutralize a threat. You can remove an obstacle. In their psychological calculus, that's exactly what Dan became. Layer by layer by layer. Donna built a fantasy where Dan was the source of all their suffering. A fantasy where the courts were persecutors, where the custody agreement was a weapon, where the legal system was rigged to hurt her family, and when a narcissist believes every institution is against them, they feel justified breaking the rules of those institutions because the system is corrupt and they are righteous. By the time the decision was made, whether indirectly influenced, quietly suggested, or actively pushed, Donna's conscience wasn't weighing the morality of murder. It wasn't even in the room. What was in the room was a narrative she'd spent years constructing, a narrative in which she was the protector, the fixer, the only one who understood what needed to be done. In her internal story, removing Dan wasn't a crime. It was courage. This is the terrifying part of understanding narcissistic psychology. You realize that for someone like Donna, the act doesn't feel nearly as extreme as it is because they spent so long reframing the situation that the act feels like a natural next step, maybe even overdue. They had it coming. You can see it in how she talked. You can see it in the tone of the family's communications. You can see it in the way she coached Charlie. You can see it in the covert way they discussed it on the phone. Everything about it points to a family dynamic where Donna had convinced herself and tried to convince others that something had to be done, that she was acting out of love, that she was acting out of necessity, that she was acting because someone had to be strong enough to confront the problem of Dan Markel. But make no mistake, the strength she valued wasn't moral courage. It was moral detachment, the ability to decide what another human being deserved based on her own emotional convenience. That's the heart of narcissistic pathology, the belief that your emotional needs justify real-world consequences. And the ripples of that belief didn't stop with the murder. They continued long after. You hear it in the jail calls once she was arrested. You hear the panic, not over what she did, but over the loss of control. The fear wasn't remorse. It was exposure. It was a terror of realizing the story she'd spent years building was about to collapse under the weight of reality. Narcissists can tolerate many things. Humiliation is not one of them. Loss of control is unbearable. Being seen is a threat. Being held accountable is intolerable. And now imagine the psychological implosion that happens when a woman who lived her entire life as a family center of gravity suddenly finds herself powerless in a jail cell with her phone calls monitored, her words scrutinized, her children turning on her, and the world seeing her not as the protector she imagined herself to be, but as the architect of a crime that destroyed everything she claimed to be protecting. To a narcissist, that is injustice, it is persecution. Even now, even sitting in prison, she likely still believes she was right, that she had no choice, that the courts forced her hand, that the world is unfair, that she's misunderstood, that her children failed her, that the prosecutors misrepresented her intentions, that she is the victim of a massive misunderstanding. And that's the final layer of narcissistic justification. They rewrite the aftermath, too. They don't see themselves as the cause of the tragedy. They see themselves as suffering from it, even though they made it themselves. And when you step back and look at the full psychological landscape, what you're left with is not simply a woman who made a series of bad decisions. You're left with a portrait of someone who built an entire internal universe where morality wasn't a constant. It was a tool that existed to validate her worldview, justify her decisions, and protect her self-image at all costs. In that universe, Dan wasn't a person. He was the barrier to Wendy's happiness. He was the reason the family felt unstable. He was the force pulling her grandchildren away from her influence. And narcissists do not tolerate being shut out of the center of family life. To her, removing Dan restored balance. It reestablished order. It preserved her identity as the matriarch, the decision maker, the protector, the one who always knew best. And once that illusion took hold, everything else in her mind aligned around it. The whispers became justified. The planning became reasonable. The danger felt exaggerated. The outcome felt necessary. The crime felt righteous. That is how far someone with her psychological makeup can go when they believe their role, their identity, their emotional equilibrium depends on it. And if it sounds chilling, it's because it is. It's a kind of chilling that doesn't come from raw brutality. It comes from a warped version of love, a distorted version of protection, a delusional version of sacrifice, a catastrophic version of certainty. Donna's story is not the story of a criminal mastermind. It's a story of a narcissist who rewrote reality until the unthinkable felt like destiny. It wasn't sudden. It wasn't impulsive. It wasn't a moment of madness. It was the end result of years of entitlement, fear, self-righteousness, and manipulation, all wrapped in the language of motherhood and family loyalty. And that's why people struggle to understand it, because it doesn't look like the villain we expect. It looks like overreach. It looks like obsession. It looks like good intentions taken to an unforgivable extreme. It looks like love twisted into something unrecognizable. But beneath every layer of distortion, every justification, every self-protective lie, there's one truth that never changes. This wasn't about Wendy. This wasn't about the grandchildren. This wasn't about safety. It was about Donna and the lengths she would go to maintain the illusion that she was the one holding her family and herself together. Everything else was collateral. Your thoughts in the comment section on YouTube. I'd love to hear them. I'd love to see them. Throw them up. And hit subscribe while you're there, too, please. Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski is what you can search for if you're listening to us on the podcast platforms. Thank you so much for being there. Hit subscribe while you're there as well. And also, please do, like I said, check out our YouTube channel. Be part of it. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're very close. We need your subscription. So hit that bell, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. We do greatly appreciate that. Until next time, I'm Tony Brueski. Talk again.
Want more on this case and others? Then press subscribe now and don't miss a moment of true crime coverage from Tony Brueski and the Hidden Killers podcast. This is Hidden Killers Live with Tony Brueski, Stacy Cole, and Todd Michaels.
Well, if you watched Dateline on Friday, you found out more about the Adelsons that maybe you knew, maybe you didn't know, but it didn't necessarily paint them in the brightest of lights. We're going to talk about what was revealed, what came out in that program, and what may be still to come in the case of Donna Adelson or Wendy or Harvey. Of course, here we got Todd Michaels, Stacy Cole. You guys all watched it. I'm just going to ask, right off the bat, Stacy, when you watched it, I know you were carving a pumpkin the other day. You sent me a picture while you were doing it. It was a lovely Donna that you carved into the side of the pumpkin. I thought that turned out really good.
It was really good. It was.
Yeah. You got the hair really well. I was really impressed with it. Wouldn't that be great to carve pumpkins, like do all the Adelsons?
Oh my gosh, yes.
There's still a few days. There's time.
There is time.
What was your reaction to the episode? Because it focused mainly on the Markels, and we're going to get into all of that here in just a moment.
I appreciated hearing that side. I mentioned to you guys before we went live here today that I really had forgotten some pieces of this case. It's been lingering for so long. So I think it was a really nice way to do a synopsis. And one of the things that I really forgot about was the stupidity of Donna Adelson and her inability to use technology. Mm-hmm. And what I'm referencing is when she kind of didn't hang up the phone and was sitting there talking smack. And they're recording it when she was talking on a prison line, basically, to Charlie, right? Mm-hmm. I mean,
well, that was recorded, and yeah, you're right. There's two parts. There's two parts where she really reveals a lot of shit. There's the I didn't hang up the phone part, and then there's parts where she didn't realize. I mean, she should have. I don't know, but
it was recorded.
Yes.
And she was just like, yeah, whatever, But to me, it's just, I'm going to offend some people here, but it's a boomer problem. It really is a boomer issue because it's like, how do you not know this by now? Mm-hmm. How do you not know that these calls are being recorded? Every call that you make these days is being recorded for quality assurance. It's being recorded for security purposes, whatever. You're dealing with somebody in a prison. So there was a lot revealed that I had forgotten about. So it was a nice little refresher course for me.
I don't know that I agree. I mean, the technology thing is going to be an age problem no matter what. But when it comes to someone like that, I don't know that age is necessarily a thing. Because I think if you're a narcissist and you just have that motor that is always going to be telling you, I need to justify this, I need to control the narrative. You can be 25 or you can be whatever she is, 70 something.
Yeah.
And I think you're still going to have that same motor, that one that's going to override all sensibility, all common sense of just take a breath. Don't say this out loud. This could get really bad really quick. I mean, it's like when you're a little kid and you're just like, I got to say this. Like you need to scratch that itch.
Yeah.
And with maturity and just mentally being older and understanding how things work and taking a breath and taking a beat and how just immediate reaction doesn't usually solve problems very well, especially on things like this. If that's there and you've never learned to have patience with it, you're going to do that no matter what.
I agree.
And I feel like it's just one of those things where the certain things are said to her, certain situations come to her, that itch is there. And no matter if there's 20 cameras pointing at her, she's still going to feel I got to scratch that itch no matter what. I'm going to do it. And that self-satisfaction, that self-gratification, whatever it is, that's going to outweigh anything no matter what. It's almost, I don't know, I would almost say in some ways uncontrollable, I would think, in some of these people, where it's not necessarily a conscious decision that she's
I was going to say,
so
I
impulsive.
bet they don't even know.
Yeah, I just... And then somehow her mind is telling her that, well, this is going to be better no matter what, because it's worked out so many times for her in the past. Because there's 1,000 little cuts that she was able to endure and slice onto all of her victims throughout life, and everything worked fine. So when it came to this big one, well, you've done this all these other times to all these other people, Donna. What's this other? This is going to be fine. It's not going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
I think that's how her brain works. But I agree, it is a boomer problem. But I think that's just simply because of the technology. Do you feel it? I feel it today with some of the technology that's out there. I mean, I try to be as versed in it as I can be, and I'm still feeling like I'm always behind. I can't imagine, I can't imagine how they feel right now, on some of the stuff that's out there. I mean, we're talking, before AI, when a lot of this stuff was going on, being behind. Now it's just, it's another galaxy. It feels.
I feel like I'm Gen X, so I feel like I need a Gen Z to or a millennial to come and hold my hand and show me like, hey, let's meet on Sundays at 3:00 and you show me the new shit from the week before.
Yeah.
Can we just do like a half-hour little class? Like, tell me what, was it 6-7?
I don't even know what that means. I don't think, does anyone know it? I don't think there is a meaning to it.
I don't know that they know what it means.
I tried to ask my daughter about it, and she's like, I don't think there is a meaning. I think people are just saying it and doing it. I'm like, well, why? They just are.
Well, and by the way, Daphne in our chat pretty much just called me an idiot. I'm not saying that all boomers are like that. I know a lot of great boomers. I'm not an idiot here, but I know a lot of boomers that really struggle with technology and get themselves into trouble.
Statistically, you're going to have a higher amount that are. I mean, it's just, you're going to be less versed in it, statistically. Not everybody.
No, not everybody. And there's some that are absolutely beautifully versed in it. But what happens is our world is moving in this technological vacuum. And if you're not keeping up, you are going to fall behind and get into trouble. Oh, I'm sorry, Daphne. She just said Donna was the idiot, not me. I'm sorry, kiddo. Well, that's okay. See, again, technology. Reading into it incorrectly. But if you are getting behind in technology, look at everything that we do that is on your phone. If you if you have a jitterbug phone, like a lot of us got for our grandparents, you can't do a lot of things. There are some places you can't go.
Are those still around?
If you go to a sporting event, they don't take cash anymore.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
My
mom still uses her checkbook. I just feel this is more secure. I'm like, you're literally giving your account number to anyone who wants it, and they're putting it in a drawer.
And a signature on that thing and all that kind of stuff. And a signature.
Like, you are giving everything away.
The one thing I have to say, and I'm not going to disagree with you, Stacy, but Donna did try to use a phone call that was recorded a little bit after that big debacle, where she did try to get her narrative out there. I don't know what they're talking about. So I don't know that it's necessarily like a boomer thing, because when she wants to use technology for her benefit, she certainly seemed to know how to do that.
That's a really good point.
It was good for me to see this because I had not seen the actual bump video before. So, and Stacy, you and I were talking about this before we went on about how she actually handled that quite well. She didn't come across in the actual video where she was nervous or, oh my God, she was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, that part of it, she actually did pretty well. But then she turned around and called Charlie right away and said, I think there's a problem for both of us, kind of thing, which right then and there put the nails in her coffin.
Yeah.
It was also good to see her before she went into prison, to see what kind of look she had and all that kind of stuff.
She was trying to look like Wendy.
Yes, absolutely, like Wendy's sister. But then the complaints about how she had gained weight in prison because the food is so bad and all that kind of stuff. It's like, get out of here with that crap.
Yeah, then don't commit a crime. Then
no
you don't
kidding,
have to worry
right?
about prison food.
Exactly.
That's two thoughts.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yes.
But the fact that she was complaining about the food in prison is like, it's prison. Even Georgia Kappelman's like, this is prison. It's not supposed to be like Club Med, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's not a country club.
Right.
That I think And we were talking about this the other day. At the end of the year here, we're going to put together kind of our greatest hits or our favorite moments of the year. And that, to me, watching that video, because there's a court hearing of Donna Adelson, a fairly inconsequential court hearing about her complaints of what jail is like. This is prior to her trial.
Yeah.
But it's funny to watch. And we'll go back and watch it again because it not right now, but it's her complaining about everything on the stand to the judge for like 30 minutes.
Yes.
And it's just watching this narcissistic boomer flail and thinking that what she says should be taken into some sort of consideration, has some sort of relevance because of who she is or her age or like just zero clue that you're not going to get special treatment here because of who you are. And she really genuinely, I think, believes that those were the mechanisms to find relief. And she's utterly shocked when they're not. I mean, there's a lot of things she does out loud that are pure theater because she knows she's trying to manipulate. But when she really thinks that she's going to be, when she's pushed into that corner, that's where you have the collapse. That's where you have these hilarious moments of putting the narcissist in the cage because they don't know what to do because they can't do anything. And again, I mean, I've done the video and I'm like, why do we find her so fascinating? Why do we find it so satisfying to watch the narcissist in the cage? Again, it's because so many people know somebody like this, and not necessarily they've gone to this length, but have suffered through their bullshit throughout life, and are just like, this represents all of that. It's interesting. I feel like that other doc that we're going to talk about later in this week, the Perfect Neighbor on Netflix, that's another Donna Adelson right there. That woman, the Perfect Neighbor lady, just completely caught up in themselves, utterly clueless as to anybody else's emotions, feelings, well-being, not remotely even thinking that, gee, there's all these kids out here, they're playing football in the streets, they're running around, they do have parental figures that are nearby watching, making sure that they're okay. You dumb bitch. Like, They could they'd be out there committing crimes. They could be doing horrible things. They are kids being kids in a rare neighborhood where they feel safe and the parents feel safe enough for them to be out there. But because it disturbs you and your little piece, you want to tear it all down. Never mind, there's all these other people out here that are benefiting, children included. But if it bothers you, then, well, that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
In that court hearing, the other thing that I thought was really cool, they were trying to get her like bond or bail or something like that, so she didn't have to stay in prison. And I thought Georgia did a nice job of saying, well, listen, she's a flight risk. She tried to go off to Vietnam or whatever. But then Donna's also telling the story about how somebody apparently came up behind her and grabbed her arm and put it behind her back. And she said, you keep it up and you'll lose your pretty white teeth. And I'm looking at Donna's mouth going, okay, first of all, they're not white. Second of all, they're not pretty. And she was a dentist's wife. So
I'm kind of surprised by that.
I got a little petty at that point watching Dateline.
I mean, what does that say too? I mean, that's just a fascinating thing. I mean, she's married to she's married to a cosmetic dentist. Her son is a cosmetic dentist. These are the folks who can elevate your dental game beyond just cleanings and cavities. Like, they can give you the perfect smile, and you're not doing it.
You're not
taking advantage of that. Like, you think yours is already good enough, and so you're. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I mean, it's a weird conundrum there on that. Like, why would you not take advantage of this? If especially when image is so important. But if you're so you already think your image is the fucking cat's meow. Then why would you change it? Because you're already there. I don't think I've ever used the cat's meow in a sentence.
Well, let's give you one of these. There you go.
Yes.
The password is,
me.
yeah.
There we go. There was a letter that was shown on screen. I'm going to talk about this for a second, then we'll go to the letter. The other moment in that thing for me, and I love how Dateline, I mean, it's a lot of rehashed material, but the order in which it's placed, sometimes the producers do a very good job of putting things into perspective and making you see things in ways that, oh, I knew this, but when presented this way, this does make a little more sense. And the moment for me that really, really got me was the Charlie call, was after the bump, where was the whole, well, what is this about? Are you getting sued? Who is this about? Well, it could be about you and me. And she somehow thinks whispering on the phone is going to make it like
that
less.
changes it, doesn't it?
It's changed, exactly. It's very infantile in her way of thinking. But that right there was, you wouldn't say that if it wasn't about the two of you. And it's like, well, there we go. Like, if there's ever any doubt, because all these cases, and I'm someone who I second guess myself on everything. So I'm always second guessing like my thoughts on a case, because I want to, not that I want to be right, but I want to make sure that I'm seeing it clearly and accurately. And whatever clear and accurate is where I want to be. So if I'm clouded by something, I want to understand that. I'm willing to change my opinion, but I need to hear that. And those little pieces like that are what make me go, yeah, okay, well, yeah.
Yep. And then right after that, too, they showed a clip of Georgia talking with the jury, basically saying, you heard that. Like, this is damning evidence, basically, is what she said. So you're right. Yeah. The way they kind of piece that stuff together, you're like, oh, God, I mean, I knew that. I knew she said those things, but, God, that makes so much sense.
Exactly. When the ingredients are the right amount in the dish, it makes it right. When it's messed up, it's hard to tell it sometimes.
Exactly.
I got a letter here. This was obtained by Dateline, and we're going to read it. I have the full transcript of the letter. There was a little snippet of it that was read on Dateline. This is the full thing, and this was a letter written in 2024 to Harvey from Donna, and it's about her grandkids and them going to school for the first time. And a couple of things I want you to think about when we read this and you listen to it. Is she writing it to Harvey? Is she truly writing this to Harvey as if he didn't know these things? No. Is this her just verbally throwing up, into a letter of, here's all my emotions? Or was this intended for someone else to read as a piece of theater?
That's where my head went. This is all performance. This is performative. This is her making her statement in the only way that she can at this point.
And maybe somebody inside the courtroom or whoever the investigators are will see this and realize what it's doing to her. Again, when she wants to, she can use various forms of technology to try and play the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is it. It starts out with a title. It doesn't start like, Harvey, my love, you wonderful dentite of the world. First day of school, ... This will be the first time I don't get to see the boys and take pictures on their first day of school. Never mind, Dad's dead. And grandparents you're not allowing them to see their grandchildren whose son you just offed. It breaks my heart that I can't see them or even pictures of them on this special day. Please tell them that I'll be thinking about them and wishing them both a good start to their school year. They had a fun summer with activities, camp, and friends, and now it's time to get to work. Please tell them if I get a fair trial, I'll get out of jail and come to see them in Austin. If not, I want them to do the best they can because that will make me happy. Because I'm sure they're just like, what can we do to make Donna happy?
Yeah, how can we help her?
How telling is that, though, that the first thing she's saying is, it'll make me happy.
It'll make me happy. Because she thinks everyone's there to serve her.
Yes.
That there's no, like, the world is simply Donna's oyster to conquer, and everyone else works for her.
Yep.
I it's so when you guys were kids, did you ever I remember you're trying to figure out the world and you're running things through your mind. You're like, what if I am the only one? Like, what if all this is just run weird thoughts through your head.
Sure.
And then you go, well, that's fucking insane. Of course it's not. There's other people here. They have feelings. And I think some people lock into that thought and go, well, that's how this works. and then that's modality for the rest of their lives.
I think you're right.
If this state convicts me like they did to their uncle. Their uncle. Wait. Wouldn't you say my son?
Yeah.
Right.
For a crime had no part in. I want them to remember all the fun things we did together. I do not want them to visit me in prison. I just want them to remember the good times. If I don't get out, then hopefully I die soon so that no one remembers me in prison garb behind bars. Donna, that's the only way people are going to remember you, actually. That's the only legacy you have.
Can I just say something here? I guess you could call my dad a histrionic person. He would always, my mom and dad had a very contentious custody battle. We were in court all the time. I actually had to get up on the stand and testify against my dad that he was a horrible parent so that I didn't have to go spend summers with him. Long sordid story. But he would call up on a Sunday after, was it before 5? I think it was before 5. This is a long time ago. Long distance became more expensive after a certain time frame when people had landlines. Because I'm a little older. And he would say, oh, I'm not feeling well. I've been having chest pains. I may die. And it was just this horrible guilt trip of I'm going to die soon. And finally one time I said, well, you didn't die last week, so I think your odds are pretty good for this week.
Yeah.
I mean, knock it off. We're all going to die.
It's what they do.
Exactly.
It is what they fucking do.
Yes.
And it's like it's a scripted play. When this doesn't work, when that doesn't work, when all the levers that they used to pull that were able to manipulate people, simply the slot machine's not plugged in anymore and it's not going, what do? You're ill.
Yes.
You're sick. And they all fucking do it.
And when my dad finally died, Tony, when my brother called and said that my dad had died, I said, are you sure?
Yeah.
Because the guy had been dying my entire fucking life.
Exactly. I've seen it. I've seen it in my own personal life. I'll share a little fun stuff here. So the narcissist in your life. The narcissist that was in my life for many years, narcissist borderline, all that. 2 fake cancer scares.
Oh, yeah, we had one of those. Yep.
And then also tell the children that too.
Oh my.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, think of what it does to a kid.
Holy shit.
To have them traumatized that their parent's going to die.
Yeah. And then you wonder why your
do
child
that
wants
to a kid.
No. And then you wonder why no child wants anything to do with you. It's like, well, you already traumatized one this way, and then you add this in when all the levers weren't working, it was I'm dying of cancer.
Yeah.
And oh my God. And as a healthy person, when you hear that from someone, you have empathy.
Of course.
And that's
you're
what
supposed to.
That's what they're betting on, and eventually, I mean, it's like the boy who cried wolf, but like in a real visceral, sick level. And you go, I can't believe someone would do this.
Right.
And I don't know sometimes if they actually believe the shit they're saying. Maybe they do. But sometimes it's just when all else fails, I'm going to be deathly ill. And you can see it when folks like this begin to collapse.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not going to say any names. I'm not going to say, there's one I'm watching in real time. I think some of us are watching in real time narcissistically collapse right now. I can guarantee illness will be next. I can fucking
Always.
guarantee it. I can
Always.
guarantee there's going to be a feigning of an illness soon.
Do you
where
want
it's
to
gonna
like
be-
do a bet right here on the podcast? Because we could all throw up some money to see what happens
Yeah.
here. I've got $5 in my wallet. What about you, Stacy?
I think I've got a $2 bill hanging around somewhere that I've
well,
been
there
saving
you
for
go.
years.
I
I'll take
let's-
the 2 out of that. Are we
think
going to
you're
put a timeline on the date that the illness appears, or that?
I think it's going to be before the end of the year.
I did too. It's going to be at an inopportune time for everyone else. It will probably be a holiday.
I was just gonna say,
Thanksgiving
yes.
or Christmas, because they also do that. Narcissists will pick
Yes.
the holiday or whatever moment is important to someone else.
Yep.
So it will either be on a holiday or someone's birthday or some momentous occasion in their life, some sort of
Yeah.
achievement that's going on. That's when it's already in queue. In
I
the
vote
back of their mind,
Christmas.
they're like, it's cocked, it's ready to go. And there will be a feigned illness in that scenario. But there is in everybody's scenario when these sort of things happen. Again, I'm not going to say more about that as far as, but I think a lot of us know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we do.
Stacy's in for $2 at Christmas. I got that written
Christmas.
down.
You got
Yeah,
Christmas?
Christmas Eve.
You're going
I'm going to
specific.
go. I don't know that it's going to, I think it's going to be desperate and it's going to be needed sooner, because the implosion we're watching is insane. I'm going to go
very
Thanksgiving. I'm going to go Thanksgiving. And I think the feigned illness.
I'm going to go with
but I-
Festivus. Festivus for mine. For my
When is
friend.
This is
Festivus, by the
technically
way?
what? There's a date for it.
Yeah, let me look that up because I do celebrate it every year. I didn't when I moved out of my house. I didn't bring my Festivus pole, but I had a pole out in the garage.
love
Not like
that.
that kind of pole.
Yeah,
not that
whatever.
kind of pole.
Yeah. She's spinning around
What's
the
this?
pole.
Oh, it's a Festivus pole. Bullshit. Nobody attaches a Festivus pole to the ceiling.
Why is
It
there
wasn't
like
attached. It
strobe
was
lights?
just a pole on a stand.
Why is there baby oil all over it? It doesn't
Stop.
make any sense.
That would be. I think you've got to slide down the
Yeah.
pole. Then that
Stop.
would be. Yeah. But I'm going to go Thanksgiving. I'm going to go Thanksgiving on that one. That's my guess. I don't know.
All right,
We'll see what all-
Festivus 2025 is December 23rd. It's a Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on that, we're live that week? Are we not live that week? I don't think so.
On what?
The 23rd
Christmas?
of December.
No, I think we're going to be not.
All right, so we'll have to do our Festivus celebration early,
Sure.
where we do the airing of the grievances.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. So I think there'll be definitely a serious feigned illness, and no one will know the difference because you can't go get medical records and be like, "Hey, this is what's happening." And so it's just going to either you're going to be on board with it or you're not. And I don't know what I'm watching there. There's a lot of people jumping ship. So yeah, that'll happen. And Donna, we're going to see Donna. We're going to see Donna feign some illness here too.
Yeah.
So it's just part of. It's like when I started learning about borderlines, narcissists, history, all that shit, the dark triad of insane.
Yeah.
It's like the joke is they all went to the same convention because they all go off the same fucking playbook and they all
do.
think they're so unique in it and they all think nobody's going to see this. Nobody's going to see through my bullshit. If I say it aloud, people are going to be like, well, that's true.
Yep.
And,
They all have
and
the same
thing is,
swag bag.
and the thing is, a lot of people do, and that's the scary part of it. But Donna, I'm sure, is going to go. That'll be on her thing as well. Let's continue with the letter here. It says that's not what I want. Of her being behind bars. Doesn't want the kids to remember her that way. Please remember this. I'm holding on the best I can. Every day is a challenge. I believe that I should come home, but I'm realistic too. We all saw the 2-hour deliberation and the decision to put my son behind bars for life. This is still Tallahassee. Kappelman is still the hometown Southern sweetheart prosecutor who's gotten convictions on everyone in this case. She just wants another notch in her belt. She doesn't care about the truth. This is vigilante justice. just building and telling her, like, thank you for you're letting Harvey know this, I guess. And these jurors have to go back to their friends, neighbors, and coworkers and explain why they wouldn't convict another Adelson. It's easier to just convict and be done. Thank you for being strong and hanging in there with me. I love you more than you can imagine. Thank you for being you. I love you so much. Donna Sue.
That was the part right there that made me want to puke.
Yeah.
Donna Sue. Ugh. Oh. I think when I do my Donna accent, I usually always put a little English accent in it too. So it's always, oh yes, poor me.
You got to have the vibrato. There's a lot of that going on.
I love you so much, Harvey. You stand by. It's kind of like Katharine Hepburn. But
I was going to say, you do a really good one too.
It is. It really is. The Markels, and I'll read their statement because they put it out, and I think we did read this the other day, but for context, this is what the Markels have said about the whole situation. During sentencing, our family listened in disbelief to the disrespectful and delusional statements made by both Donna and Harvey Adelson before Donna's sentencing for first-degree murder and other convictions of our son and brother, Dan Markel. Contrary to Donna's claim, she never mourned the loss of Danny's life, nor did she ever express concern for his sons losing their father. Yep. Testimony at her trial showed her callous indifference to his murder, including written evidence that she dismissed the very idea that the boys could be sad or miss their dad. It is deeply unfortunate that Harvey used this time before the court to challenge our family's account of our relationship with Ben and Lincoln. We will set the record straight as we have in court and elsewhere. Our family was cut off from contact with the boys for 6 full years, from the moment authorities implicated Adelson family members in Danny's murder until 1 hour after the Florida legislature passed the Markel Act. Since then, our interactions have been limited, mainly through Wendy's supervised Zoom calls and short visits. Wendy refuses to share their address, and gifts that we send must be mailed to her lawyer's office. We were uninvited to Benjamin's bar mitzvah following Charlie's arrest, and were never invited to Lincoln's. We grieve the years lost and the years ahead without independent and direct contact with them. Beyond her crimes, Donna scorned Danny, drove deliberate wedges between him and Wendy, and disparaged him to his own sons. Her display of emotion before the court was not remorse for Danny's death, but sorrow for consequences she now faces for causing it. We thank the court, prosecutors, jurors, and law enforcement for their steadfast commitment to bringing justice to Donna Adelson for her role in this terrible crime. That's the letter. And there was something that Dan's father said on Dateline on Friday, and I'm just going to read it. It was at the very end of the episode. He said, wouldn't it be? He said this to Wendy. Wouldn't it be nice if we could arrange for the boys, you included, to let them see where their father grew up, let them see where he's buried? She said that will never happen.
That broke my heart.
Yeah.
And I'm somebody who, I watch the world news at 5:30 or whatever, and the last story is always one of those that are supposed to like grab you by the heartstrings, and I always weep at those, so I'm a little wuss when it comes to that stuff. But when Mr. Markel said that, I just couldn't believe it. You could hear the pain in his voice.
Yeah. We want to be part of their life. We want them to see how much love we have for them. That's how that ended. And Jesus Christ. God damn. And it may not, God knows what these kids think of their grandparents after what the Adelsons have fed them over the years. It's probably not as easy as flipping a switch. They're in their mid-teens. If they have their mindset made of who they are, and as everyone is at one point in time, young and dumb, they are products of what they've been brought up around. And unfortunately, it's been mainly the Adelsons. So it's probably going to take several years for them to, if they ever do, break out of that shell and see the world around them for what it is. The sad part is, by the time they get there, their grandparents may not be around anymore.
Well, and here's the sad and yet beautiful part about this is once they become independent and they can make their own decisions, I would put money on the fact that they are probably going to reach out to those grandparents and say, I'm sorry that we missed out on so much with you. Let's make up for lost time. Once they don't have somebody pulling the puppet strings.
I'm hoping that's the case. The thing is that will happen much quicker if Donna is actually taken into the courtroom herself. And a lot of people are asking in our chat, do we think that's going to happen?
Yes.
I don't know.
I mean, Wendy is going to continue. People like this don't change. No. And this is all complete conjecture. Wendy's obviously never been charged with anything. She maintains her innocence. But just generally speaking here, from my experience, I think from anyone's experience, narcissists don't change. And if this is your modality, this is how you operate, and you're literally telling, the grandparents that will never happen. And she couldn't even give the little bullshit well, maybe someday, maybe this summer or something. It's that will never happen. Wow. That's a really cold, calculated, you're just flat out saying it. Okay. That's never going to change. She's going to, in my opinion, I'm going to guess this is going to be her modality until the day she dies too, which will probably be a very long time from now. And these kids, this is the only family they know. This is the only family they have. And that's why these cycles are able to go on for as long as they do, because people don't want to be uncomfortable. Right. They're not going to break out of the cycle if everything in the cycle over here is home, no matter how fucked up that home is. Some do break away, but they're typically looked at as the odd duck. Mm-hmm. It's not like the majority move away and there's the one that sticks around. It's usually one that breaks, and then everybody else stays and continues to feed the demon. And so who knows? I mean, I really hope that they do at some point have that reckoning. We on this show, when we've had Siobhan and stuff on, there's been many times where we've gotten done talking about, their lives, from, the 1,000-foot perspective of not living them. And, if you could say something to those kids the day that they're someday scrolling and looking for their history, what would you say to them? Because I think they're going to find, they will be able to find perspective on their lives through outside sources in ways no one else has in the past. Mm-hmm. So I think that is going to be helpful to them in ways that, other people may not have had. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if that is something that helps. I'll
just say this. I'm ready for Wendy in court. I think that it'll be good watching. I think that I'd love to see Georgia go after it and see what happens. And see if there's a jury that makes a decision in 3 hours like her brother and her mama. So,
yeah, it'll be fascinating. They are victims of circumstance right now. And hopefully, hopefully the future is brighter for them. Hopefully their uncle maybe can step in and give them a little reality check. Because I doubt it's going to be coming from Wendy, in my opinion. But it's a messed up story all around. But that's the latest on the Adelsons.
Want more on this case and others? Then press subscribe now and don't miss a moment of true crime coverage from Tony Brueski and the Hidden Killers podcast.